and welcome to the Manfred and Penny Conrad Institute of Music Therapy Research, the CIMTR. Located within Wilfrid Laurier University, the aim of the CIMTR is to provide research opportunities and facilitate research opportunities within the field of music therapy. The lab focuses on clinical activities already taking place within the university within the Master of Music Therapy program, while also undoubtedly providing opportunities for students to take part in research. The CIMTR makes a significant contribution to the research community within music therapy that helps to not only broaden the understanding of music therapy, but helps to continue to show efficacy within music therapy. Some examples of the research conducted here at the lab include the connections between music making and depression, the effectiveness of low-frequency therapy on Alzheimer's disease, and much, much more. The research that's conducted here at the CIMTR is essential to highlight the benefits and efficacy of music therapy as to support and grow the profession.
The Improv Lab is designed to have everything you need to record music therapy sessions with multiple clients or therapists, depending on your research or session needs. We have 2 electronic xylophones, 2 keyboards, and 2 electronic drum kits, as well as electric guitars, basses, an upright piano, and microphones. In addition to a versatile collection of instruments, the lab features a 2021 iMac computer, Focusrite interface, and Mo2 MIDI interface to make recording possible and engaging. Students and researchers alike have access to a variety of instrument configurations and options here at the lab, so there are many research topics and opportunities to be explored. Now we've gone over all of the equipment here at the lab, let's take a look at the softwares. How exactly does a researcher use all of this gear for their projects? The lab's computer is equipped with several digital audio workstations, or DAWs, including Logic Pro, Ableton Live, and GarageBand. The researcher can use one of these softwares to record the material that they require for their research project. Maybe it's their clients playing, their own playing, or even a group of players. Once the recording process is complete, the user can navigate to the statistical analysis software MATLAB, where they have access to many different commands which can analyze their musical data. As you can see, the lab enables students and researchers to explore and experiment so as to further support the field of music therapy and discover how impactful music can be in all of our lives. As well as all of the amazing instruments we have here at the lab also features 2 vibroacoustic chairs. These utilize low-frequency vibration, a therapy that continues to play a role in mental health and Alzheimer's disease research. Some of that research has been conducted here at the lab using these very chairs.
When I first started to develop this improvisation lab, the initial idea was that we need to find a way to investigate the therapeutic relationship that happens between the therapist and the client. Because as a music therapist, I do know that there is something powerful happening in music and in the therapeutic relationship, but it's sometimes very hard to say what is it exactly that happens in that 3 seconds or 2 seconds when client suddenly does something and then the therapist does something. And I wanted to have this kind of setting where we could actually analyze these moments, these micro moments. For example, who is initiating what? Is it the client or is it actually the therapist? And we have all these improvisation techniques and interventions and methods like matching and mirroring and holding and mismatching even. And I think with this equipment that we have, we can actually analyze these things. We can actually analyze what is it exactly that happens in this therapeutic relationship. So that was the starting point. Then of course around the low frequency chairs, I think what I'm really excited is this idea of being able to develop some kind of low frequency environment. Like for example, we can create 40 Hz environment, which there's lots of studies around it, what it can do on the brain level. And in this setting we can actually create that environment, and then we can do all kinds of research. And we have done Parkinson's research, we have done Alzheimer's research, we have done all kinds of pain related research. My dream for future would be to do PTSD research. That would be my next big project. Music therapy field internationally, but also I would say especially in Canada, needs research. And we need both evidence-based research and we need practice-based research. I think both are needed. We need clinicians who know how to study their own work, how to understand their work and how to understand the therapeutic relationship in order to be better clinicians. But at the same time, we do need researchers who know how to do evidence-based research and how to communicate those results in the medical field. I'm really excited that the PhD program is the reality now, and we will launch very soon. Once we have the PhD program running, the sky is the limit for what we can do. And of course, we are hoping to have donations. We are hoping to have big grants so that we can actually launch these big projects. And when I'm saying big projects, I mean studies that include MRI and EEG and that type of research tools that we really need to do evidence-based music therapy research.
Hello, my name is Laura Teutsch. I'm a graduate of Laurier's Master of Music Therapy program. When I was doing my master's, I had the opportunity to do some research in the Conrad Institute for Music Therapy Research. That's this amazing lab that you see behind me right now. I want to tell you a little bit about my research to give you a glimpse into how this amazing lab contributes to the field of music therapy. I want to preface my introduction by saying that there's so much that can be done in this lab, and that's what's so exciting. There's so many elements of music therapy that can be researched. My research is just a tiny little sampling of what can be done with the powers of our analysis software. For example, some research has been done on music therapy in autism, depression, anxiety, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. It can be used to study particular elements of music, particular elements of the therapy. It can be used to study particular client populations. It can be used to dig deep into one improvisation or one client case, or it can be used to study the broader effect of music therapy. During my master's, I was working with a client, Sarah, who was referred to Laurier's music therapy clinic for her depression and her anxiety.
I'm Sarah.
What brought you to music therapy, Sarah?
I was dealing with some mental health issues when I started going to music therapy or wanting to go to music therapy, and then a friend of mine told me about it and I thought, well, why not give it a try? Because therapy and music individually are helpful. Why not put them together and see if they're helpful too, and have fun, but also have the help or therapy moving on and dealing with whatever I needed to deal with my mental health.
For sure. When Sarah and I first started working together, improvising music was way too far out of her comfort zone. So we started just by exploring sound. We were tapping objects in the room, just exploring what sounds could be made with various objects. By the end of our first 10 sessions together, Sarah was improvising freely on the drums, and she was starting to get comfortable on the piano and the xylophone. I was fascinated by how this change in her improvisation and her comfort level was also representative of her self-efficacy and her confidence in herself. I discussed it with Sarah, and she enthusiastically agreed to be part of a research study based on her therapeutic process. So once Sarah and I agreed that we were going to do this research project together, I started coming up with some research questions. What did I want to figure out? So first of all, how can music psychotherapy influence the self-efficacy of a client with anxiety and depression? 2, how can musical microanalysis enhance the understanding of therapeutic processes and change? 3, What is Sarah's perspective on meaningful moments that influenced her self-efficacy during music psychotherapy improvisations? And 4, what are the important features of improvisational music psychotherapy that contribute to the development of Sarah's self-efficacy? Now that Sarah and I had our research questions, we agreed that the rest of our sessions would be conducted in here in the CIMTR Lab so that we could record each of our improvisations using the MIDI equipment. This would mean that we would be able to analyze the data. Once we had completed the therapeutic process, Sarah and I listened to the recordings of our improvisations. And while we were listening, she was describing her images, her body sensations, her feelings, her thoughts, everything that was going on for her while she was listening. Can you tell me about what that part was like?
Yeah, it was kind of cool listening to all those recordings back. Usually I don't like listening to anything that I do on myself because, I don't know, just kind of weird. But it was kind of cool to still listen to it anyways because it's like, you created that. That was like really, really good. I'm like, you could do that. It kind of made you a little bit think you could do more than you really think by doing that, by just going with the flow and listening to it back. It was really, really cool.
And then I started to analyze the music. And that's where the research equipment came in, the softwares that we have. Let me tell you about some of the most exciting things that I found. So first of all, while listening to one of the improvisations, Sarah described the imagery of the path of a storm. And I was able to find in the music, using our analysis software, I was able to find that the average pitch of that improvisation basically mirrored exactly that path of the storm. Secondly, there was a bunch of typical traits of depression and anxiety that were present in Sarah's improvisation, particularly rhythmic rigidity. But that gradually lessened as her confidence and self-efficacy grew throughout the therapeutic process. Third, by analyzing the session videos, interview transcripts, discussions with Sarah, there was multiple features that were identified as the most important elements of the therapy process for Sarah's growth and development. And one of those features was the therapeutic relationship, which I was actually able to analyze through musical microanalysis to identify certain elements of the music that matched her description of the relationship. Fourth, lastly, Sarah's imagery in the final improvisation that we had together was represented by so many musical elements and relational aspects. Take a look here at this image that was created by a graphic designer who took Sarah's exact description of her imagery and turned it into an actual picture. What would you say to anybody who might be thinking of using this lab for their research in the future?
I would highly recommend it. I would highly recommend using the lab for sure because it adds a different dynamic to all your projects or learning and yourself, one another. Yeah, I would totally use it. I would totally recommend it for sure.
I hope that this brief description of my research gives you a bit of an idea of how this lab benefits clients and therapists alike, while at the same time developing and contributing significantly to the growth of music therapy as a profession. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. Thank you so much.
We were very happy to hear Sarah's feedback about how the music therapy research process felt for her as the client. We also spoke with Sarah more generally about how music therapy has impacted her life. She had some great things to say about working with Laura, considerations for other music therapists, and the client's experience of music therapy while working in the improvisation lab. Let's hear more about Sarah's experience.
We got this paper that we wrote together published in a prominent music therapy journal. What was that experience like for you?
That was so cool. All of our hard work paying off because there was a lot of ups and downs for sure. And just to see all that hard work at the end of it for others to finally see we didn't have to keep it a secret from anyone anymore because that was difficult for sure. Because you know when you're so excited about something you just want to share it with everybody. But with this, no, you kind of had to keep it a secret until the final product was out there. So that was a little bit difficult trying to keep that a secret, but it was well worth it in the end. It was really, really cool to see all the feedback to see all of our hard work come together in this seamless, endless project that we did amazing at.
How do you feel you've adapted, you've changed since your music therapy process?
Well, it's in anything. It's because in music therapy you kind of have to take it from using the outside world into music therapy, and then music therapy out to the outside world, you know what I mean, and kind of tie it together and run with it. So it was pretty cool just to see how well the stuff that you've learned in the outside world could help you better yourself with learning how to do with the music therapy, and then vice versa. It was really, really cool. And how it all ties together, really.
Yeah, for sure. You and I spent some time in this lab here doing some of our therapy with all of the equipment that we have here in the lab. Can you tell me about how that was beneficial for you?
Yes, it was definitely really fun to use this stuff in the lab, because it's just different than the other stuff that you use just in a regular music therapy classroom. It's just different. It really benefited me a lot. I've definitely really learned, one, about more of what music therapy has to offer, and two, you learn more about yourself because you go in deeper in some areas that you're wanting to go in deeper with the research. And just kind of learn more about yourself that maybe you kind of knew or didn't know, or you kind of wanted reassurance or something. Boosting my self-confidence and self-esteem was definitely a big one that was improved, because if you were spontaneous, then those just kind of fell in with it.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time kind of with spontaneity and like with the drums that we played, with the instruments, like coming up with kind of creative ways to use the instruments and practicing that spontaneity and that learning about kind of comfort with new situations, right?
Yes. And you definitely do have your favorite things that you like to do, but then it's also good to go outside of that comfort area and try new things and not always go to the comfort areas. I knew that was a little bit of a struggle for me at the beginning, but near the end, I think I did pretty good at trying new things and not always wanting to pick the same ones over. You're just always go to your favorite ones because they're either easier to do with, or because you like the way it sounded or something. Because you grow if you try a little bit harder things.
And how do you think those things related to the therapy process, the things that you were working on for your mental health?
It was kind of cool to see the data, because it was, again, my favorite word, assurance, and it just basically was able to, like, oh yeah, you're doing what you're doing and it's actually going in the right way.
I wish to express my continuous gratitude to Penny and Manfred Conrad and their early vision and support of what has now become the reality. I don't think this lab would be possible without all kinds of grants and all kinds of donations that we received over the years. So there has been capital fund, there has been different families who have donated, like Menik family donated the chairs. I think it's very important also to acknowledge all the wonderful people in this Kitchener-Waterloo community who have supported our research center over the years. So Wilfrid Laurier University, there has been several grants that have made this lab possible. I hope you enjoyed our introduction video, and I hope you are as excited as I am about all the opportunities that we can have at this CIMTR Research Lab. Please feel free to reach out and contact me if you want to explore how to utilize music therapy toolbox or mallet cats or low frequency research chairs or sound beam in your research.
We thank you for taking the time to learn about the CIMTR and the important work being done here in the advancement of music therapy research.